I'm going to try not to be before you too long, but I was just watching a video on Sonetta Studio, and he was asking Dr. Reggie some questions. One of the questions he asked was if Dr. Reggie was starting to believe in the Bible. And of course, Pseudo Dr. Reggie said no. Now, this is no disrespect to Pseudo Dr. Reggie. I call him Pseudo because I don't believe that he is a real doctor. I don't believe that he have his real doctor's degree. I just don't believe it myself personally. Okay, that's my belief, that's my opinion. But he had asked him a question on spirituality. Now, before I comment, I want you to listen to what Dr. Reggie said, especially to the part where he said that spirituality and belief did not save the Africans or our so-called ancestors that were taken into captivity, right? But I want you to listen to what he says, and then I'm going to speak on that. Check it out.
So what is it? I'm asking you, what is it to be spiritual?
Okay, well, it connects up to some type of belief, not knowledge, because nobody knows what it is. So it's a belief that you have something inside that's animated, right? And so people use that in the context of pushing their religion, that they seem to be better, more spiritual than any other group of people. So the fact of the matter is, it's all belief. Spiritual is in the context of belief. When you want to know, what we know is what happens to us every day. We're symptomatic. We know what happens in history. We're symptomatic. Spirituality didn't help the Africans on the slave ship. It didn't help none of the Africans on the slave ship. If it helped a few, fine. But spirituality don't save lives. Spirituality don't save lives. So
let me stop it right there. Spirituality did not help the Africans on the slave ship. And spirituality don't save lives. That's what he said. But my question is, had Kemet or ancient Egypt saved lives? What lives have ancient Egypt saved? And another question is, you would think that our so-called ancestors or the Africans that were taken on the slave ships, they had knowledge of self. They had the information that you guys are studying and talking about. You have all of their idols in the background, ancient Egypt. And I have a question on that as well. But since they had that information that you guys are studying or allegedly studied, why didn't that information or that knowledge save them on the slave ships? And why didn't that information save their lives? The same information that you claim that they had, you now have. It didn't save their lives. It didn't keep them from going into captivity. So what make you think it's going to save your life? It's not saving the black folks' lives today because they're still being gunned down by police. Day-to-day things that's taking place in this country is still happening to black folks. You're still submissive to law enforcement. You're still under the white man's control and rule. So it's easy for you to talk about Christianity, spirituality, religion, and even the Bible. But where the information that you claim to have, why didn't it save black people? Why didn't it save your ancestors on the slave ship? Why didn't it prevent them from going into captivity? Right? And the other question I have is, you're always representing Kemet or ancient Egypt. But was the African slaves taken from Egypt? Now, we know that they were taken from West Africa. Now, there are people that say, oh, they were taken from all over the place and how they migrated to a certain area and they were taken into captivity. But you guys dwell specifically with ancient Egypt. You have all of their idols in the background. You're into strong idolatry when it comes to Kemet or Kemet, as some of you say. Right? So where does ancient Kemet tie into the African slave trade? Your ancestors. You guys are always visiting ancient Egypt, but I never hear you guys talking about West Africa or visiting West Africa or trying to connect with your roots or the roots of your so-called ancestors that were taken into slavery. You talk about slavery, but you're representing ancient Egypt or Kemet. So I'm confused. And I hope somebody would probably comment this video instead of name calling. Of course, we know that the personal attacks are going to come because when they really don't have answers or when they are offended or emotional, they tend to attack people personally, right? But I'm hoping that someone would comment this video and explain that to me. Why are you fixated on Kemet or ancient Egypt rather than the west coast of Africa, where your ancestors allegedly were taken? And if spirituality and religion didn't save the slaves on the slave ships or don't save lives, where does your belief system save lives? Where has it saved lives in this day and time? Instead of you getting in front of a camera talking about it. So, feedback, tell me what you think. Till next time. I'm fearless.